Can you move over a little?
And we are live on a turned out to be a pretty nice night, Friday night, all in on high school sports. Jennifer Valenti, Kurt Valenti, and what a night of playoff action. That's all we're gonna say is what a night.
Week 2 did not disappoint. New feature tonight. We have the scores scrolling by from all of the sections this evening in North Jersey. So, as we're talking, if you miss something, it will definitely pop up.
There's the scoreboard. Couple of comments coming in. Mr. Kirkpatrick, good evening. Sounds like you had some great games in NJ tonight. Mr. Beelan, this duo, let's go. Mr. Beelan saying, Kenny, PCTI, baby. And nice pick, Mr. Kirkpatrick and Mr. Beelan. But listen, let's get to it. I mean, I'm going to say that I'm saying the late games, like we're talking like NFL football, but the later start games, this little ending window of the Irvington game, the Clifton Phillipsburg, the St. Peter's Prep, Seton Hall. I mean, it was just like red zone. You didn't want to leave because stuff was just happening. So a couple upsets tonight. We'll get to it. And Mr. Beelan saying congratulations on that pick and congratulations to PCTI with a huge upset tonight.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
Jump ahead.
All right, so let's break this down. Let's start right out of the gate.
North 1, Group 1. We had the number 1 seed Park Ridge defeating number 5 seed Becton by a score of 41-15.
Jen, we watched it. What can we? Kid Matthew Manning from Park Ridge is just, I mean, a beast. And 4 touchdowns tonight. Also want to give a shout out to quarterback Cole Hughes, 2 touchdowns, ran that zone read, and hey, they were tough. I know a bunch of us picked Becton, and but hey, tip your hat to Park Ridge because hey, they were the better team tonight, and hey, they're the number 1 seed, and they're going to be playing for that sectional final now.
Congratulations to Becton, our friends at Becton on another great season.
Absolutely, great run.
The other side of that bracket, we had Hasbrook Heights as the 2 seed, defeating the 6 seed Kittatinny by a score of 35-7, which sets up a North 1 Group 1 sectional final, Hasbrook Heights at Park Ridge.
Not round 2. Round 3. It'll be now the 3rd round. Park Ridge got them both times, but here's the thing. Those both times now?
Out the window.
Out the window, right?
Absolutely.
All the marbles. Heights, Park Ridge for the sectional. It's like another NJIC championship. But again, Heights moves on.
Moving on to North 2 Group 1, we had the number 1 seed Mountain Lake hosting the number 4 seed Weequahic. Mountain Lakes was victorious by a score of 28-21. Mountain Lakes did jump to a pretty big
14-0 lead. Yep.
And then they were up 21-6. And then Weequahic closed it.
They took the lead. They took the lead. Mountain Lakes came back.
So it was just another good game. On the other side of that bracket, we had the number 2 seed Cedar Grove with a convincing win over the number 3 seed Boonton, which, excuse me, I don't think any of us would have predicted, but it was, Cedar Grove is showing their strength.
Listen,
they won 35-7.
Michael Marinelli, the Lombardi to Marinelli combination a couple of times today. They, like you're saying, they put a good Boonton team away early, and it sets up the 1-2. Mountain Lake, Cedar Grove, so they do have to travel, but
right now, Group 1, all chalk in the finals.
That's it. It's chalky.
1-2.
But you're not getting chalky in this next one.
Not in this one. We move on to North 1, Group 2. Kenny, you and I called it the Cinderella team. Number 8, Hanover Park upsets again in the second round. Number 4, Waldwick by a score of 35-21.
What do you mean? How about me? I had Hanover Park too.
I was saying that him and I called the used the phrase Cinderella.
Just throwing it out there. Yeah, but hey, the 8 seed. Listen, it's why you say, don't worry about seeds. Get
Yeah.
in. They upset
Yep.
Ramsey, upset Waldwick, and now they get to a sectional final where who would have thought that was the case?
Right
But
now, Caldwell, who's the 2 seed on the other side of that bracket, had a convincing win over number 3 Westwood. They blanked them 35-0. Now Caldwell at that 2 seed, we're hoping they get the number 1 seed knocked off. Now they get a sectional final at home.
sectional final at home, and you named it another 0.
Yeah.
It's just, listen, the two, we'll say the other defense later, but the two defenses we talked about with Coach Sheridan, listen, one delivered another shutout.
Yeah.
So we'll see hot Hanover Park next week
Yeah.
against this one of the best defenses in the state in Caldwell.
Yep. We move on to North 2 Group 2. We had number 1 Rutherford defeating number 4 Ridgefield Park by a score of 37-10.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
ahead.
Jen, again, Rutherford jumped out a little bit. Ridgefield Park came back, took the lead, and then it was all Rutherford. Again, playmakers all over that field. And listen, this team's going to be tough. They get the sectional final at home. And when you just watch that Park Ridge game tonight, you said, well, who beat Park Ridge? Well, Rutherford beat Park Ridge. So, again, another legit NJIC. Listen, NJIC is getting a sectional champion in that Group 1 matchup, right? Because they're both playing each other.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think
Here's
Rutherford's
another-
going to get them another one because a little upset on the bottom of that
Upset
bracket.
alert. We got number 6 Jefferson ousting number 2 Newton by a score of 27-14.
Yeah, back and forth. It was 7-0, 7-7. Close all the way. But then Jefferson with the last 2 scores, they pull away. I'm sorry, was it 27?
27-14. I
Yeah,
believe.
so pull away 2 scores. And hey, Jefferson now is a 6 seed playing for a sectional final. But not going to be easy going to Rutherford.
Now we go to North 1 Group 3. We return to an all chalk. The number 1 and number 2 seeds advance, both by shutout this evening. West Morris defeats Old Tappan by a score of 21-0, and West Essex defeats West Milford by a score of 35-0. Following the West Essex game, it was just a constant barrage of just building on the lead, building on the lead, building on the lead.
Yeah, and hey, that's Kenny saying back-to-back for Jefferson. Don't sleep on them, absolutely. Yeah, West Essex looked great. They, in Lou's words, had the Windows 95 rolling. We'll get to another Windows 95 later. If he was on, I know what he would be saying. But for another week, West Essex goes. And West Morris, top of your hat, Old Tappan was, I think, a lot of people's upset special in this round, and never competitive. West Morris put it on them, 21-0. So it sets up 1-2.
And this is the matchup I was looking for, and during our when we broke down the brackets 2 weeks ago on our Tuesday night show,
And just-
it's an old Iron Hills Conference matchup.
Just a little spoiler early. Again, we could change our mind, but right now I'm tending to West Essex is hot. So, I'm looking for West Essex there.
All right, so we move on to North 2 Group 3.
Wow, the North 2 Group 3, this is where Kurt was totally wrong. Totally wrong on this one.
So we had number 1 Cranford, again another convincing victory, 42-7 over number 4 Pascack Valley, and I'm not going to call it an upset in the 2-3 game, but I'm going to say it was the convincing fashion in which Sparta won tonight, 42-0 over Riverdale Riverdale.
Kenny's saying, I told you Old Tappan was in trouble because of my scouting, LOL. Get him, Hoops. You know what? Listen, I was dead wrong on Cranford. I'm telling you, they lit up Pascack Valley. I want to say they scored 6 out of their first 8 possessions. Beelan saying Sparta, baby. I was wrong on this one, too. I had Riverdale, but there's no way I would have said this was going to be a 35-0 game. No way. So, hey, I'll tell you, Sparta. And
42-0.
Oh, 42-0.
Yeah.
I'm saying Sparta, a lot of championship pedigree in that program.
Yeah.
So listen, they're not going to be intimidated
Right.
going
And
into
you
Cranford.
said, saying the same thing, like, those little numbers are out the window. It's, you got history, you've got, programs with a history. All right, moving on to North 1 Group 4. Northern Highlands advances the number 1 seed over number 4 Mount Olive by a score of 28-7. Here we go to number 2 seed. They'll match up against Ramapo next week, who defeated Ridge, the number 6 seed, by a score of 41-31. A little bit of a shootout turned out to be.
Yeah, little shootout. Let's first do Coach O'Connor for coming on. He came on the other night. Give him a shout out on a great season and a nice respectable game against Northern Highlands. But it sets up what we wanted to see. A lot of people were saying who's the 2 best public schools in North Jersey, and a lot of times it was, hey, is it Ramapo, is it Northern Highlands? So now we get it next week. Ramapo goes on the road, we get it there, and again, Ridge played them tough. They didn't quit. Ramapo was up a couple scores late, make it more respectable, but hey, Ramapo, Northern Highlands next week.
All right, moving on to North 2, Group 4. We have the number 1 seed Irvington beating the number 5 seed Colonia by a score of 14-7. Number 2 Middletown South defeats number 3 Sayreville by a score of 17-8, setting up an Irvington Middletown South matchup for the sectional final.
And sectional history. I mean, 102 years.
Yep.
They've never done it, and you know what? Dr. John Taylor and his and the coaching staff there, hats off to you. You guys got one more to go. One more to go.
Best of luck.
Saquon Gordon to Raheem Wright, both touchdowns tonight. Scored late in that game. Again, we talk about defense, but that Irvington defense, giving up 7 points only in a playoff game. And there he is, Dr. John Taylor. These Irvington kids are making me go gray. 4 wins this year where the go-ahead touchdown is less than 3 minutes left in the fourth or overtime. Dr. John, congratulations.
Kids,
Awesome. Hey, you guys got one more. You got 2 more, but you got one more for that sectional final, baby. And what's nice, in your house.
Yep,
that's
100%.
the nice thing. Hosting it in your house.
Right.
I'm sorry, Middletown Sayreville. It was really, again, another close game.
A
lot of field goals throughout the night.
Say, that was my note, field goals.
Yeah.
Which I feel like we don't see a lot of.
And
they had at least 3 field goals, Middletown South.
And it sets up, again, there's your chalk, 1-2.
Yeah.
But it's in Irvington's house, so we'll see.
All right, North 1, Group 5. The West Orange East Orange game is slated for tomorrow, but we've got another, I don't want to call it, again, an upset, but it's a 2-3.
No, I'm calling it an upset.
And again, the convincing fashion.
Well, I'm calling it because you know what, Jen? During the regular season, Ridgewood put it on PCTI in convincing fashion. And you know what? When it counted tonight, PCTI came through, never left a doubt.
The score was 28-9.
28-9 PCTI. Now they go. Listen, they could host a sectional final. West Orange wins tomorrow.
That's true.
PCTI is host, so they're rooting a little bit for West Orange.
We're watching we weren't watching the PCTI Ridgewood game, but we're watching the score as it was going on, and you're seeing it close. Then you saw them widen their gap, and we were expecting Ridgewood to close it, but they just widened it again. So congrats to PCTI. All right, North 2, Group 5. Eastside wins by forfeit.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. I know Kenny's saying I'll call this big upset even though it was a 2-3. I know people were saying they're still trying to see how Union can play, but then we read on North Jersey, I know our friend Darren Cooper there said it's official, that it's not. So not 100% up. There you go. So you guys are invited. Everyone looks good and royal. We gotta get hoodies if we go there. I gotta get an Irvington hoodie.
Always angling for something.
He is. No, but real quick, what's your thoughts on, again, the defending state champs, Union, get a couple of days ago, I think they had a couple kids test positive. Then today, I believe, or yesterday, they tested more kids positive. So what's your thoughts on that?
Listen, nobody wants to say that they have to forfeit, but in this situation, you have to really err on the side of caution, and you can't have, if you're having cases upon cases, and you have to follow the protocols, and that's the protocols. You can't. Yeah. Is it really fair to keep the other team waiting around either?
Right.
There are rules set, and nobody wants to see it have to happen, and I feel terrible for those kids. But again, I always feel like you err in extreme caution when it comes to kids in high school sports.
But what a shame, though. I mean, you get a team that legitimately, they're just not a team that hey, we made the play. I mean, they were had a legit chance to win another sectional championship.
Right,
I mean, back to back, a lot of those kids back, and now those kids don't get it.
Yeah.
John Taylor. Whoa! Windows 95 crashed tonight. Ridgewood lost. This doesn't help my
Windows 95 crashed.
All I know is the first person. I'm not sure how up to date Lou Saunders is with the scores, but tomorrow morning he will get a text from me.
But West Essex won.
Well, it's 1 for 1 now.
So.
But this Windows 95 crashed.
That is funny.
And then let's get to, I don't know if you want to call this the game of the night, but I got to tell you, this Phillipsburg-Clifton game was, and I will say this, as an offensive guy, that drive at the end of that game was a championship.
It was.
Offensive
It was
drive.
impressive.
You
It
know,
was really
you
impressive.
go from the lead. They miss the extra point, so Clifton's up 6. Okay, they Phillipsburg
comes back.
They drive, hit the extra point, 21-20.
There was a controversial call there too, where Clifton could have had the ball back.
Right, Clifton could have had the ball.
Yeah.
It was on a punt.
Yeah.
They said, they thought he for a catch stick should have been a penalty. The kid fumbles. They give the ball to Phillipsburg. Phillipsburg scores, extra point, 21-20.
So you're wondering if that blocked extra point is going to be the determining factor at this point.
Right. So
Yeah.
determining factor, 3 minutes, 1 timeout only left. Okay. They're not going to go and kick a field goal with the season on the line. You're not going to do it. So you got to punch it in. Running the ball, quarterback runs, some big plays. And I will say this, and we talked to Coach Sinkyu the other day. On the offensive side, you got the kid Velas, you got Feliciano as a running back, and you got the kid Swayze. Okay, and you got more. But when you have those triplets like that, and you have, he's a weapon. The guy behind me is a weapon.
Yeah,
the weapon quarterback.
You have to be ready that any of them could do some things. You have to be ready for,
and
you
just
have options.
and the pressure situation at that offense, and they just went right down the field.
Oh, yeah.
Scored with under a minute left. Get the 2-point conversion.
It was impressive.
Unbelievable drive. Congratulations, Coach Sinkyu and staff. And now they will host a sectional final.
Yep.
And again, that's just you never know who's going to lose in front of you. So it's like it's our last home game. No, it's not.
Right.
No,
right,
it's not.
Absolutely.
Couple of comments, Dr. John. Ridgewood Maroon turned into the blue screen of death. They'll reboot it next year. Kenny Kirkpatrick, I work in the medical field. The only thing I would say on is this. They are a Group 5 school. They should have had enough kids who had negative tests, just my opinion.
Oh, to play with the kids who are there. Yeah. Well, I guess that's an interesting take on it as well. I don't know their roster. I don't know how many kids they had, and I don't know, if they would have been to field a team and play it that way. I don't know. Yeah, good point though.
That's it's a great point.
All right, that rounds out our public school action. Moving on to non-public A, Donovan Catholic and Bergen Catholic are slated for tomorrow. Here's another good game of the night. Another close Seton Hall Prep, St. Peter's Prep game.
We're talking about...
Last time it was 21-22 in double overtime.
Right.
Tonight was St. Peter's won 21-20 in regulation.
Right.
But Seton Hall Prep made...
And again, we're talking about two teams that potentially, these two teams, they win this bracket, they potentially could be number 1 in the state.
Right.
And you're playing in a, second round or a quarterfinal round. It shows you how tough this bracket is. But again, so I'm texting Kenny throughout the night. St. Peter's is up. St. Peter's right out of the gate. This kid Sam Slade, running back, 207 yards. The kid was just he was like a missile. Just went untouched for about 73 yards on 1 touchdown.
They went up 14-0.
Went up 14-0. Then they 14-7. Seton Hall comes back 21-7, and it's like I'm texting Kenny, and it's like it's over. Next thing you know, Seton Hall Prep scores, makes it 21-14. Hold, get the ball back, score again, 21-20. Go for 2. They kind of ran like they ran like a toss play to the strong side, and the quarterback reversed out, and they kind of threw it back to the quarterback, and he slipped and he was falling in the end zone. There was coverage on him, but who knows if he doesn't fall, doesn't make the catch. But a great call for Seton Hall to go for the 2. But now it sets up. Again, if we don't know Bergen's going to beat Donovan, but if they do, it sets up the Bergen St. Peter's rematch. Couple comments. Kenny, I call this game of playoffs so far. Playoff season, only problem I had Seton Hall Prep.
All right. Bosco at St. Joe's of Montvale, also slated for tomorrow. And our last non-public A matchup that we have was Delbarton at the 7 seed falls to the number 2 seed St. Augustine by a score of 28-13.
And you know what? I'm gonna say this about St. Augustine. A lot of people and Darren was saying when we had him that they just write them off because it's a South team.
Right.
But you know what? Like he said, it's not like the normal South parochial A team. Like this team beat a good Delbarton team and now they will play either Joe's or Bosco next week. So in their building. So you got to travel now down there.
Yep. All right, which leaves us with our non-public B games, which was a first round for this bracket since they're a little bit smaller. DePaul, the number 1 seed, playing the number 8 seed Immaculata, winning again in convincing fashion by a score of 42-2.
Jen, 2 points again. We talked about the defense. I mean, Caldwell got the shutout, and listen, DePaul gave up. Their defense didn't give up the 2. They got a safety. So Kenny's saying, "Dang it!" Hats off to Del Barn for hanging in with all the big boys this year. Very true statement, though.
Yep,
very true statement.
The Hudson Catholic Holy Spirit 4-5 game is slated for tomorrow, as is St. Joseph Hamilton playing host to St. Thomas Aquinas. And our last game of the evening is our friends from Mars Catholic fall to a strong Red Bay Catholic team by a score of 58-34. My brother was at that game texting us updates, and it was just like a score,
after score.
So, and that rounds out
our if you
action.
think about it, that was, what was the final?
58-34.
Right. So you had 90 points in that game. I mean, it's pretty hard to do in a high school game.
Yep.
Huntingtown. Yes, Huntingtown
defeats La Plata. Thank you, Kenny, by a score of 41-0.
41-0. Not a close one. Yep. And hey, Huntingtown goes in. Beelan saying Kurt's kid's dunzo. Yes, sir. Kenny.
He was dunzo with those kids earlier. So.
Yeah. Called right. Okay, real quick. Got a minute. Give me what surprised you. Not just what surprised you tonight.
A couple of things. I guess Jefferson was a big surprise to me. I did pick Sparta to win, but I was not expecting it to be as convincing as it was. Surprise. I guess, you know what? I feel like some of the scores were more lopsided this evening. I would have expected some of the first round matchups to be like that. Yeah. So I was a little surprised by some of, in a sectional semifinal game. Again, hats off to those teams who are, playing good defense and stuff. And you know what? PCTI.
Yeah. Kenny saying PCTI, Beelan, PCTI got the biggest upset surprise. I agree too.
Yep.
But I also agree with you with the Sparta. I never thought Riverdale would get beat 35-0. And one more, any most impressive team, anybody, you gonna throw Sparta as your most impressive?
Well, no, you know what? I'm gonna be a little partial to who we watched, and we watched Clifton tonight. And you know what? They pulled out a big one, and that drive that you were describing was really impressive by those kids. Clock management, poise under pressure, and pulling it out. You know what? That's what it's all about. Those kids will remember that game for the rest of their lives.
And I'm telling you, just like I said, when you have that, that triple threat of that, you have the running back, you have the receiver, you have the quarterback, and Clifton has it. Watch out. Yeah. John Taylor, going back to Union, regarding Union, they had to pull out. Department of Health says 3 or more positive tests in 14 days is an outbreak. Can't play once an outbreak is determined. Right. So again, and Kenny, I do agree with Kenny. The Caldwell defense. You know why? It's not like, in the regular season. Now you're in a playoff game. Mm-hmm. I don't care who you're playing in the quarterfinal. You're playing a good team. Yep. That was a 3-team Westwood. Right. And they shut them out. Beelan saying Clifton, got to get the coach on again. We do. But that's it. Tomorrow we will be doing something live tomorrow night. Just a little FYI. Going to be testing a little software out, but we will give tomorrow's update. And then that's it. Jenny Hoops, great job with the new scoreboard look.
No, that was a team effort. I made it into the movie and did some of the things, but you did a lot of work with the logos. So that's that little movie on the side, little slideshow running there was a all-in team effort.
That's it. Looks good. And we will see you guys tomorrow night.
Thank you for watching.
See you guys.